Part 2. The exploration the morning after the first discovery of the narrow hallway. The Mercer family awoke to an uneasy silence. Even the birds outside seemed hesitant, their chirps faltering as if the house's strange presence had reached beyond its walls. Daniel brewed coffee in the kitchen, the rich smell doing little to calm the tension that clung to him like a second skin. He couldn't stop thinking about the hallway. Every measurement, every glance down its endless length, had screamed impossibility. The walls were too far apart, the corridor too long. And yet it existed. Claire watched him from across the table, her hands wrapped around a mug. "Need to be careful," she said softly. "This, whatever it is, it's not just a house quirk." Daniel nodded, knowing she was right. He had already begun planning the exploration. Cameras, lights, notes all meticulously prepared. "I'm going to see how far it goes," he said. "I need to know." Evan bounced in his chair. "Can I come?" he asked eagerly. "No," Daniel said firmly. "It's not a game. You'll stay here with Mom and Mia." Mia, pale and quiet, watched him with wide eyes. "What if it's alive?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. Daniel forced a laugh. "Nothing alive in here but dust and shadows, Mia. Shadows we can measure." By mid-morning, Daniel had set up his camera gear and a series of small lights along the hallway. He marked the walls with chalk, measured the floorboards, paced the corridor repeatedly. Every calculation confirmed the same impossible truth. The hallway was longer than the house itself. He invited his friend Michael, an engineer with a fascination for anomalies, to join him. Michael arrived with a flashlight, tape measure, and skeptical curiosity. "So it's just a hallway," Michael said, stepping inside. His voice echoed oddly, as if the walls themselves were listening. "Nothing supernatural here, just irregular architecture, maybe." Daniel shook his head. "Irregular? Michael, look at this." He gestured to the tape stretched along the corridor. "These walls shouldn't even be able to contain this distance. It's physically impossible." Michael frowned, inspecting the chalk marks. "I don't know, Dan. Maybe your mind's playing tricks. Lighting, shadows, anything could distort perception." Daniel pressed on, determined. "Come with me. Let's map it, step by step." They entered the corridor together, the air growing colder with every step. Their flashlight beams danced along the walls, revealing peeling wallpaper and faint stains that no one could identify. The corridor stretched and twisted in ways that seemed unnatural, right angles dissolving into curves that made their stomachs churn. Michael's voice trembled slightly. This doesn't make sense. The walls, they keep changing." "I told you," Daniel said quietly, a note of fear creeping into his voice. "It's alive. Or something is alive inside it." Hours passed as they ventured deeper. Chalk marks faded, their measurements became inconsistent, and the corridor seemed to extend endlessly. Each step forward brought a sense of weightlessness, a creeping vertigo that left them questioning the floor beneath their feet. Meanwhile, back in the house, Claire tried to maintain normalcy. She cooked meals, watched the children, and waited for Daniel to return. But the house seemed to pulse around her. Shadows lingered too long in corners. The walls creaked in unnatural rhythms. The narrow hallway upstairs seemed to hum softly when no one was near it. Mia refused to enter the corridor. "It's watching," she repeated, clutching Evan's hand. "I can feel it," Evan, ever curious, peered at the doorway but did not enter. "I want to go with Dad," he said, "just a little." Claire shook her head. "No, Evan. You stay here. Promise me." By late afternoon, Daniel and Michael reached the end of what should have been the corridor. But the hallway did not end. It bent sharply into darkness, folding back on itself in ways that defied logic. Their lights flickered. The walls groaned. The air grew thick, almost viscous, resisting their movement. Michael stopped. Dan, I don't like this. We should go back. Daniel's eyes were wide, his jaw tight. We can't stop now. Not until we know what's at the end. And then they heard a soft whisper, like someone speaking just beyond the edge of hearing. They froze, the sound echoing off the impossibly long walls. Did you hear that? Michael whispered. Daniel nodded, though fear tightened around his chest. Yes, something's here. Something. Ting. The whispering continued, rising and falling, impossible to locate. Their flashlights swung wildly, revealing only walls that should not have been there. And from the corner of Daniel's eye, he saw movement, a shadow, quick and silent, disappearing around a bend that had not existed moments before. When they returned to the main house hours later, both men were shaken. The cameras recorded nothing unusual beyond the normal images of walls and hallways. Yet their own memories told a different story on Impossible Corridor, whispers in the dark, and the faint feeling that the house had changed in their absence. Claire hugged Daniel when he returned, sensing his tension. What happened? She asked softly. He shook his head. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Evan tugged at his sleeve. Dad, is it alive? Daniel swallowed hard. I don't know, buddy. But we have to be careful. That night, the house pulsed with quiet menace. The corridor seemed to stretch even farther than before. Whispers curled through the walls, almost forming words, almost speaking warnings. Daniel lay awake, unable to sleep, staring at the ceiling as if the shadows themselves might reach down. Claire felt it too, a subtle vibration beneath the floor, a hum in the air that was not wind. The children murmured in their sleep, restless, as though sensing a presence they could not name. The hollow corridor had begun to show its first real teeth, and for the Mercers, there was no turning back. Would you like to help us to reach 1 million subscribers? Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Stay tuned for next part.